Nostalgia time, my friends. Remember what happened to Breadwinners? You know, the two ducks Sway and Buhdeuce who deliver bread like crazy because they can. I remember even as a kid not liking the show. I found it to be lazy and pandering, especially from a comedic perspective. But what happened to this show? Why did it get cancelled? And how does its legacy hold up today? Well, ladies and jellyfish, welcome back to A.S.K, as today I'll be answering these questions and taking a trip down nostalgia lane to see what the hell happened to Breadwinners. Hey, before I get started, I wanted to encourage you to join the A.S.K Discord server to hang out with some other cartoon-loving legends like yourself, and be sure to subscribe if you enjoy these videos. 2012 sure was a crazy time, eh? It's hard to believe it was more than a whole decade ago now. We're living with so much media now at our disposal that it's hard to remember the time when we were just kids watching YouTube animations. I personally love the Duck song. That stuff was actual fire, but in the case of the Nickelodeon execs, a different Duck show seemed enticing to air on the network. That just so happened to be the YouTube short directed by Gary DeRafael and Steve Borst, called Breadwinners. Nickelodeon at this time was looking for anything to replicate SpongeBob's astronomical success for the network. This is why most people generally consider the early 2010s home to some of the worst content to ever air on Nick. Sanjay and Craig, Fanboy and Chum Chum, Tough Puppy, Planet Sheen, anything that is zany and random enough to become the next SpongeBob. Doesn't matter if it's lazy, ugly, or unfunny, just give me the bottom line. And you better do it in less than 2 years or you can say goodbye to the mainstream Nick treatment. Breadwinners got picked up in 2014 and was given 20 episodes as a test run for its first season. The show was about two anthropomorphic duck brothers named Sway and Buhdeuce, voiced by Robbie Daymond and Eric Bauza, delivering bread to other ducks while being really random and loud. I'm not even kidding, that's the whole show. The first thing you're probably thinking is that these two look nothing like ducks. This is a duck. This is a duck. This just sucks. The entire show looks and moves in a very lazy way.
I hereby claim these troves of treasured loaves in the name of... Very good, very...
The main characters were drawn as real geometric shapes, and the world surrounding them is a combination of live-action shots of bread and stock photos of other ducks. This was the 2010 syndrome at its peak, and it's something I have a particular gripe with. Other shows like Gumball pulled this off much better, because they actually know how to layer the different art styles in a way that fits the environment. The point of Gumball was to achieve a unique and interesting look. Here it's a combination of trying to be cool and saving as much money as possible. The show not only looks frustrating and lazy, but also has the most grating sound design. The show is unique in its production, as it was produced with the music being layered first before the action or dialogue was even in the picture. Usually shows will start out with the scripts or storyboards and layer dialogue first, with music and sound effects coming in last. But here they really emphasize the annoying as hell soundtrack to create the constant rhythm in the episodes. This constant rhythm is also known as never shutting the hell up and letting the viewer breathe. There's always a sound present or some quirky riff somewhere to be found. The show never stops to let you take anything in and can get on your nerves fast if you're not in the mood for this sort of thing. It's a weird combination of ADD and spontaneous combustion, and if you legitimately can watch this show above the age of 12 for more than 20 minutes at a time, I genuinely applaud your patience. This just goes to represent another thing I hate about this area of Nickelodeon cartoons. They treat their audience as idiotic kids who are only interested in flashing colors and loud sounds. Did Nick realize that SpongeBob was successful because they don't do that? The plots in this show are surface level and usually consist of the two scuzzballs delivering bread to the citizens of Pangea City. Alright, good wordplay there, gents. I'll give you that. There are also several characters here, including yet another chef. This show has the dude named the Bread Maker and then another guy called the French Chef, thus proving my everlasting hypothesis that every show I've ever reviewed has a chef character, and they're all, with no exceptions, either completely unlikable or French. And this show has both. What are the friggin' chances? The jokes in the show are also pretty much what you expect. It's quirky, random as hell humor, mixed with unnecessary slapstick and gross out. Another personal hatred I have from this era is the constant usage of disgusting visuals to represent characters who are sick or hurt, like giving them veins or gross looking facial features. Even SpongeBob did this at the time, and it just gets on my nerves because it's their attempt to seem more adult when the entire show is about as childish and immature as it gets. Even as a kid, man, I was only 9 when the show aired on Nick. I remember not even liking the show. I like to think I was pretty ahead of my time when it came to knowing the show's quality. Hey, I started this channel only 2 years later, right? When you insult the kid's intelligence with a show like this, don't be surprised when they flip the channel as they grow out of it.
Does this mean we're gonna crash and burn and die in a fiery death?
God, I wish. So, bread. Why bread? Matter of fact, why this show? Why anything? Let me gather my sanity back. The show has bread, but definitely was no winner. Bread losers. So what happened to the show? So to my dismaying surprise, the show actually rates in pretty decent ratings for Nickelodeon. Its original broadcast garnered around 3 million viewers. Network announced a month later that Breadwinners had risen to #1 rated show for kids aged 2 to 11, averaging 1.7 million viewers an episode. That's actually pretty good. I mean, I'm not surprised. How much you want to bet that the 2 to 11 range mostly consists of the 2 and 3-year-olds? But despite all that, it was actually pretty popular. I mean, I couldn't even escape it at the time. So clearly it was getting some traction. You could say that they were pretty good breadwinners for Nickelodeon. Nick immediately picked it up for a second season in May of 2014, consisting of 20 more episodes. But despite all the viewership Breadwinners had given Nickelodeon, they decided to do what has now become infamous for the network. They shelved Breadwinners to the Nicktoons channel, which, as most of you probably know, is the sister network of Nickelodeon, where they send cartoons that died in their last few episodes. We saw it with Harvey Beaks, a show that, unlike this one, had great promise, and was unceremoniously kicked to the Nicktoons block, where it got choked out and eventually died. We even saw this with Fairly OddParents later on, as a show holding on for dear life was eventually animated by Flash and left on Nicktoons to be cancelled in the dark. Nickelodeon saw a show that had great ratings and decided it wasn't enough to continue hosting it on the main network. They broadcast the final 11 episodes on Nicktoons until Breadwinners came to a halt on September 12th, 2016. My guess is that they either recognized the show's lack of quality, or they had such high standards to get the next SpongeBob, this was their opportunity to throw yet another piece of crap at the wall and see whether it sticks. It's a real shame that this show was cancelled. Oh wait, no it wasn't! This was another one of Nickelodeon's disasters, and it was better off not airing in the first place. Just goes to show that, especially at the time, Nick was willing to cut a show off the air as if it didn't immediately hit the astronomical success they were initially hoping for. And it also goes to show how naive and tunnel vision some of these executives are, to find the pilot as this annoying piece of garbage, and see a vision of that having a place on their network, and not some other fantastic pieces of media that aren't garbage. They ultimately saw kids as stupid and easy to manipulate, and didn't appreciate the origins that made Nickelodeon so great to begin with. Here's a tip going forward, guys. Maybe don't insult the intelligence of the people that keep your business afloat. Maybe don't blast them with annoying stock photos and lazy visuals, loud and obnoxious sound design, surface level plots, vapid jokes, and unlikable characters. Oh, I hate this show so much. It makes me wanna do a barrel roll. Whoa! Anyway, that's Breadwinners. What memories do you have from this show? Let me know if you agree with my review or if I'm completely dumb for not recognizing Breadwinners as the masterpiece it is. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like and definitely subscribe if this video managed to entertain you in some way. I have similar videos to this on a bunch of other shows including Word Girl, Wildcrats, Curious George, TMNT, Johnny Test, SpongeBob, even Fairly OddParents. So if you like retrospectives, I've linked those in the description below and card above. With all that said, I'll see you in the next one.